I have returned, and I'm ranking all the Captain Underpants books again. But this time there's a twist. I'm going to be including all the Dogman books as well. So last year I ranked the Captain Underpants books, and that video did pretty well. I mean, the video sucked, but the views on it were pretty nice. And in that video, I said I wasn't going to rank Dogman with Captain Underpants because I thought Dogman was a separate series or something.
I'm not going to be ranking the Dogman books because I feel like that's a different series.
Shut up! So yeah, this year I'm not only going to be ranking Captain Underpants, but we also got Dogman, Super Diaper Baby, Ook and Gluck, and Cat Kid Comic Club. So we got all the Dave Pilkey chapter book series together. Except of course for Ricotta, but I'll put those in next year. And you guys also know the rules. I'm not including the Book of Fun, and I'm not including any of Dave Pilkey's picture books. But if you want, I will put these in next year's video as well. And we'll just have next year's video be like an hour long. Alright, so I'm ranking these from my opinion, okay? A lot of people get mad about this kind of stuff online, but this is just my opinion. If you disagree, I don't care. That's awesome. Do whatever you want. But I'm going to be ranking them from my personal opinion, worst to best. And yeah, let's see if I can do this. Okay, I'm more than likely going to get a lot of flack for this one. But in last place, we have Captain Underpants and the Sensational Saga of Sir Stinks-a-Lot. Now, I don't dislike this book. Let's get this out of the way. I don't dislike any of these books. They're all good in their own way. That lighting sucks. Sorry about that. So, this book is good. It's just not great. This is the final book in the series. I mean, you probably know that. If you clicked on the video, you probably like Captain Underpants. You probably already knew that, but whatever. So, this is a fine way to end the series, but I feel like it could have been better. So around the time this was coming out, Dave Pilkey was in a lot of controversy because middle-aged Karen moms were getting mad because, oh, he said poopy fart in a kid's book. Duh. My ear just popped doing that, so that's lovely. Basically what I'm saying is the books just felt a little bit more rushed as time went on. Book 9 is the longest book in the series, and then everything after that was just really short. This one's good. It's after they introduced the time travel thing, everything got more confusing. It's fine, but I don't think Sir Stinks-a-Lot or Mr. Meaner is the best villain to close the series out with. And the way Captain Underpants gets turned back into Crub permanently, it was just a little bit anticlimactic. Not a bad book at all, it's just, it could have been better, in my opinion. Next up, we got Cat Kid Comic Club Perspectives. This is the second Cat Kid book, I believe. Okay, I'm gonna just say this. When Dave Pilkey announced the Cat Kid books, I was excited, because I was like, oh yeah, it's probably gonna be like a Super Buddies book or something. But we got these instead. And I don't hate these. But if you're gonna call the book Cat Kid Comic Club, it should be focused about Cat Kid and not the tadpoles from Dogman Fetch 22. I don't have anything against the tadpoles. They're just not my favorite characters. When we were signing up for a Cat Kid book, everyone was excited for it when it was announced. We wanted Cat Kid, but we ended up getting, the tadpoles, what I said. So, yeah, this book is fine. I feel like Dogman and Captain Underpants felt like they were for the older kids. They're still children's books, don't get me wrong, but these just felt like they were aimed at a much younger audience. There's still a lot of good drawing tips and stuff you can get out of them. It's just this one was really forgettable. It's basically like George and Harold's comics throughout the Captain Underpants series, but as a series. So, yeah. This one's fine. It was just the most forgettable out of all of them. Next we got Cat Kid Comic Club On Purpose. This is the third one. This one again, it's not bad. It's just got the same problem as the last one. Forgettable and not really about Cat Kid. It's okay and all, but yeah, that's all I've got to say about it really. It's just the exact same as the last one. Okay, well, Cat Kid Comic Club, the first one. I actually really like this one. well, like, it's really low on the list, but I still like it. This is definitely the best Cat Kid one, because it actually has, like, something to do with Little Petey a little bit. But, yeah. Basically, what happens is Little Petey and Molly start a comic club, and Flippy gets mad because, like, the kids are acting up or something, and he says Little Petey has to leave. And I'm not going to spoil too much. You guys can read it for yourself, because reading is better for your mind than watching YouTube videos. With that said, like and subscribe before you leave. We cool? Alright, next book. What's up, Dogman Fetch 22. Okay, you guys are probably going to think I hate the tadpole characters. I don't. This one is good and all. Like, I like Barkley McTreeface. I like the Fair Fairy and all. But they're just kind of like weaker villains compared to some of the other ones that we got. Yeah, this is still a good read and all. The Super Buddies part is cool. But yeah. Dogman Fetch 22. The part where, like, the Super Brain Dots go into the lake and give the tadpoles mind power is cool. And the fact that Little Petey and Flippy still make comics is also cute and all. So yeah, not terrible. None of these are terrible. But this is just a weaker Dogman book. So yeah, there you go. Captain Underpants and the Tyrannical Retaliation of the Turbo Toilet 2000. Okay. I'ma be the first one to say it, but all my homies know Melvin sucks, and this book is very Melvin-centric. So yeah, Melvin plays a huge part in this. He gets superpowers again and becomes Big Melvin, and he brings, well, he doesn't bring the toilet back. The toilet just comes back.
Did you wash your today?
And it's basically Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets again. Yeah, this one's cool and all. One thing about this book is George and Harold are in danger because, like, Harold failed their grade and he's in danger of having to retake their grade, and George will advance, so Krupp won't have to see them together. Kind of where they got the idea for, like, the whole separate classes thing in the movie. But yeah, you have to see George and Harold go through, like, a lot of sad times because they got to make up their work and all that stuff. So that part was kind of sad, but still a good book. Check it out. And yeah. What are you, bro? What are you doing? Next up, Dogman For Whom the Ball Rolls. So this is another pretty good one. It brings back Dr. Scum from the first Dogman book. This also introduces Grandpa, Petey's dad, but he is a pretty big part of, like, Petey having to forgive his dad for all the stuff that he did to him. So yeah, good book, and balls. Funny, haha. Next book. Next one, Dogman and Cat Kid. So this is another good one. It's got, like, a whole Batman parody with, like, the Bark Knight and stuff. This is also one that, like, tries to have Dogman the movie, which might actually be a real thing. So yeah, this introduces the Super Buddies, and it gives Petey, like, Little Petey and Petey more time to hang out. So that's cool. It also introduces the rest of the characters as, like, superheroes, but they don't stick around for some reason. They're only in this one and, like, a couple times after. So yeah, good book, very good. Next up, Captain Underpants and the Revolting Revenge of the Radioactive Robo-Boxers. So this one is another Tippy Tinkle Trousers one. I like that. And this one is, like, the whole caveman aesthetic about how, like, George and Harold have to do a drawing for the cavemen. They have to draw a comic on the wall for them because, you know, they can't read because they're cavemen. And it also kind of ties into Ook and Gluck a little bit, which we'll talk about later. So yeah, this one's really good. The action scenes in it are pretty cool, and the beginning is pretty dark too. I'm just gonna say this, you've all read it probably. This is actually the one where Tippy Tinkle Trousers dies. I'm not making this up. He actually dies. I remember seeing that as a kid, like a little kid, and I was like, we just lost the greatest villain in the Captain Underpants franchise. That's sad, man. Where's my Oscar? Oh, jeez, got me all fake emotional. Alright, next we got Captain Underpants and the Perilous Plight of the Purple Potty People.
Meant to say preposterous, it's just this one and Captain Underpants 4 sound a lot alike, so I got it mixed up.
So, this one has a really creative premise. It's what if the characters went to an alternate dimension where they met the evil versions of themselves. A lot of people say that's not creative, but I think it's cool. Also, we get Evil Sulu, and these people, I forgot their names, but yeah, they're cool. Great Granny Girdle and Boxer Boy. Yeah, those are their names. So yeah, this one's cool. It's got like the Bill and Ted reference with like the porta potty is the time travel thing instead of a phone booth. I thought that was cool even when I was little and I hadn't seen Bill and Ted yet. So great book, definitely check this one out. And yeah, poop. Next we have Captain Underpants and the Big Bad Battle of the Bionic Booger Boy Part 2, Revenge of the Ridiculous Robo Boogers. This is the one where like the time travel becomes a huge part, where in book 8, the last one I just talked about, that was like really well put in there, but in this one, book 7, it's just kind of, it's not really confusing yet, but it's still like, oh, okay, this is new. It takes a minute to get used to, but yeah, this one is good. Melvin's in it, but like not as much. Also, the booger characters are just classic and all. So yeah, this one's really good. Next book. Next one. Captain Underpants and their Big Bad Battle of Bionic Booger Boy Part 1, Night of the Natural Nuggets. So yeah, this one's in full color because it just is. I got it that way. But yeah, this one's good. Melvin's in it, but he's not like, it's not like about him like book 11 is. It's like, oh, he's allergic to cats, and he was trying to combine himself with a robot, and then he sneezed and became the Booger Boy. So this one's really creative, but a lot of people did get grossed out by this one. So yeah, this one's great. Next up, Dogman, Lord of the Fleas. So this one introduces the Fleas, obviously, and this is like, Petey was kind of becoming a good guy before this, but this is the one where it becomes more of like a prominent thing. Also, the flashback where he's at camp was like, okay, it made sense when this book came out, but then in Wuthering Heights it was like, oh, they're poor, so like, how can he afford to go to camp? But whatever. This one's good, and yeah. Why did I say camp? He's in the Scouts. Whatever. Really good book, and I like the way they paint the dinosaur to be a squirrel at the end. So, yeah. Next up, Dogman, Brawl of the Wild. This is the sequel to Lord of the Fleas, and this one's cool, like Dogman gets framed. That's pretty cool. He also goes to jail, and there's this parody of the painting with the dogs playing poker. That one was also really funny. Also, this introduces Claymation Philly. So, in Dogman and Cat Kid, you get Robot Philly. In Dogman the original, you get Philly. And in this is the third time we get that character in Claymation Philly. Now, I do like the way they like introduced Claymation into this like 2D book. It looks really good. It's still a good book, but it's just not the most original. But yeah, anyway.
Number 15.
Captain Underpants and the Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman. So, this one is a classic in my opinion. You got the Wedgie Woman, her hair comes to life, and this also introduces another version of George and Harold. So, how many Georges and Harolds do we have, everybody? Well, we have George and Harold original, past George and Harold, evil George and Harold, robot George and Harold, adult George and Harold, and evil adult George and Harold. Oh yeah, don't forget the zombie ones. So yeah, we've basically just got more George and Harold to add to the pile, but this is one of the first times it happened. It's also really funny to see how Mr. Krupp pretty much gets drafted basically into marrying Miss Ribble. So that's pretty funny. The Adventures of Super Diaper Baby. This was unlike anything that we had ever really seen before. You had the comics in Captain Underpants that George and Harold had made, but we had never gotten a whole book that was just George and Harold comics. So this one's really good. I mean, if this had never happened, we probably wouldn't have gotten Dogman. So yeah, this one's just a classic. That's why I ranked it so high. It also introduces Diaper Dog and Deputy Doodoo. I do think the second one's better. We'll talk about that in a minute. This one is still a classic though. Like look at his face. How can you say no to his face? He's adorable. Alright, anyway. Dogman Mothering Heights. This one's just great. I like how the later Dogman books are more emotional. And even though Dogman is the title character, the series wouldn't be where it is if it weren't for Petey and little Petey's relationship. And how Petey is like the dad that's always mad and like does bad stuff. But then little Petey's like, you can turn around, you can change. It's really good, and it's not like the Cat Kid comic club where Dogman's the main character, but he gets sidelined by everyone else. He still has a good role in this. Well, not this particular book, but the other ones. In this one, he pretty much hurts his hands and gets roses. So yeah, he is kind of sidelined in this one, but still. Also, Chief and Nurse Lady need to have their date in the new one. But yeah, anyway. Dogman Grime and Punishment. So this is the one where it introduces Dogman as Catman because, you know, he got fired and he tried to get rehired as a cat. And you have the Motor Brain, which gives you Snug and Grandpa with muscles. So yeah, this is a good book. And it also introduces Munchie the Lunch Bag, who I have on my wall back here. Let's go check on him. Hey buddy, how you doing? Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So yeah, this is a good book. Definitely check this one out. Alright, this might shock some people, but next we have the original Dogman with a bookmark in it. It's a Sam's Club receipt. I forgot how good this one is. Like, in this one, it's like, it's still kind of got the same style as Super Diaper Baby, where George and Harold aren't like, they're good at drawing, but they're not like amazing at drawing. It's still got that style like an actual kid drew this and wrote this. And in the second one, Dogman Unleashed, it's like George and Harold learn to write and draw better. So this one's really nostalgic. This one's just like a bunch of different Dogman comics together. It kind of has a story, but it's not as like, the story is not as organized as like the later books. But yeah, this one's really good, really nostalgic. Definitely check this one out. Next up, Super Diaper Baby 2, Invasion of the Potty Snatchers. I've always liked this one. I don't know if you guys ever saw that video of Dave Pilkey talking about how he made this. Super Diaper Baby 2, Behind the Blankies. So basically when Dave Pilkey was a kid, he had this comic book series that he did called Waterman. So basically Waterman could do anything that water could. He was made out of water. And he took inspiration from those old books and made Rip Van Tinkle. And I think this one's definitely better than the original. This one also introduces Petey, which, again, if Super Diaper Baby never happened, Dogman would have never happened. I know I'm like the philosopher of the year for saying that, so thank you. So we have Dogman, A Tale of Two Kitties. I feel like this is definitely the most popular Dogman book because it's the one that introduced Little Petey. The way Little Petey is introduced is very creative, like the cloning machine and how it's a baby. Like, if this had been any other series, it would have just been another Petey and not Little Petey. Yeah, I have respect for this one because it gave life to one of the greatest Dogman characters. So yeah, good book. Definitely check this out. I don't know why I did thumbs up, but anyway, yeah. Okay, this is a long one. Need to mentally prepare myself for this. Next we have, now in full color, Captain Underpants and the invasion of the incredibly naughty cafeteria ladies from outer space and the subsequent assault of the equally evil lunchroom zombie nerds. First try, baby. Yes. So, yeah, this is the third book in the series. It's pretty good. It's got a bunch of villains like the lunchroom zombie nerds, which are down here. I'm stupid. And also the aliens, Zorks, Clax, and Jennifer. A lot of people forgot their names. I don't fault you. And then we also have the Dandelion. And this is the book where Captain Underpants gets his powers. This also has a Dogman comic at the end, just the full color one, not the original. So yeah, get this version. Really good book. I've said that about all of them. But yeah, this one's really nostalgic. Next up we have Captain Underpants, the original, or The Adventures of Captain Underpants. This one is great. It's the original. It's the original. Okay, so I have this thing where the original of any series, it's not always going to be the best. Most of the time, like if it's a movie, it's always the best. But for books, it's not always the best. Because, you know, you got to establish the world, the characters, and all this stuff. So this one is great. I mean, I ranked it really high. I don't know what you expect. But this one is definitely nostalgic. Very good. I do think the villain, Dr. Diaper, and like the robots, kind of weak villains. They're just kind of like mid. But this is still a great book, and I love the part where George or Harold is like, oh wow, this book was almost believable up until that happened. That was really funny. So yeah, anyway, really nostalgic and really good. Okay, a lot of people are going to be surprised I ranked this high, myself included. Captain Underpants and the Terrifying Return of Tippy Tinkle Trousers. Why do I like this one so much, you may ask, when it really doesn't add that much? Because this gives us the backstory of George and Harold when they were kids and how they beat the bullies. That was an awesome part. Also, this was the second Captain Underpants book I ever read, so I have a huge spot for this in my heart. But yeah, this one's really good. The bully part is funny. This is also the longest one, like I mentioned. And yeah, I think this is the last like great Captain Underpants book, where everything after that was just kind of okay. Also, this part, the Indiana Jones parody, that's priceless. And the part where the bullies are licking the milk off the floor because the pizza's so spicy, that's also awesome. Next we have Dogman Unleashed. This is another really nostalgic one for me. So I read Dogman and I was like, okay, this is great. Then I read this. I read this book every day for like 2 weeks straight. I'm not even exaggerating. I did that. This book is awesome. I just thought it was so cool, all the action. Like, you got the dinosaur, Flat Petey, regular Petey, these guys helping Dogman. Like, Petey makes a love potion and makes the entire town fall in love with him, and they call him a bunch of like weird names. And when I was a kid, I was like, dang. So yeah, that was pretty funny. But this book is just awesome. The action in this is great. The part where Flippy comes to life is great. A lot of people forget he's in this. I don't know how. He's like the main villain. But yeah, this is really good, really nostalgic, and my favorite Dogman book overall. We've officially covered all the Dogman books. Now let's get into the rest. Luke and Gluck Kung Fu Cavemen from the Future. Okay. This book has gotten some controversy recently. Dave Pilkey pulled this book from circulation because he thinks it depicts Asians in a bad light with Master Wong and his daughter. But honestly, Master Wong is actually one of the wisest characters in anything ever, and he's my favorite character in this book. I get where Dave Pilkey's coming from, but yeah, this is a good book. It has like good messages and morals, and I read this like around the time I was getting into Kaiju Kimbo, which is a martial art form. So this one, it was just great. I really like this book. It's sad that it's gone from circulation and we're never going to get a full color variant. And also there was a sequel that was planned, but that never happened either. So unfortunately, it looks like Ook and Gluck are lost characters. Alright, only 2 left. Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets. Do you know how cool this book is? So basically the movie is the first book, the second book, which is this one, and the 4th one combined. So the villain in the film is Poopy Pants, but he's driving the Turbo Toilet 2000, which originated from this book. Also, the talking toilets are iconic. This is the first book to introduce Melvin, and he's not like overdone. He's just kind of like the nerd kid that's there. So yeah, this is really good. Highly recommend this. One of the best ones. Well, obviously, it's the second one in my ranking. But yeah, classic. George and Harold are like really funny in this. The way they defeat the toilets is kind of like weird though. They shoot cafeteria food into their mouth and they puke the teachers back up. Because, you know, they ate the teachers. The toilets did, not the kids. Wow, I had to explain that. But yeah, this book's great. It's just awesome. All built up to this. If you saw last year's video, you know that my favorite book, Captain Underpants and the Perilous Plot of Professor Poopy Pants. This is also the 2-in-1, and it has the logo for the movie. So this came out in 2017. This is when I got it. Well, that's when I got it. And this book was the first book that I read all the way through. So let me clarify some things. I had read books before this, but they were books that like wow, it's shiny. They were books that my family had read to me, and I just kind of knew them by heart, so I wasn't really reading. I was just like repeating what I'd heard a million times. But this was a game changer. Read this, and I was like, I gotta read more. I gotta read them all. So yeah, got all these. Then Dogman started like as soon as I was done with Captain Underpants. Got into those, and yeah, we're here. But this one's just great. Poopy Pants is the best villain. George and Harold are really funny in this. It has the best flipperama. I'll put the clip of that in there. It's just, this is the greatest book. It's my favorite book, like other than the Bible. The Bible's like my favorite book, and then this. But yeah, this is awesome. Definitely check this one out. There were books that I also, like my dad would read to me, like The Phantom Tollbooth is a great book. My dad and I used to read that. Treasure Island was a really good one. And Big Nate, which is another like comic series, graphic novel, whatever. But those books I didn't really read. I would just take them into this tree that we have in our front yard, and I'd just look at the pictures. So yeah, this was the first book that I read all the way through that was like an actual chapter book. I should probably specify that. But yeah, really good book, my personal favorite, and this is like my childhood. So yeah, that's why Captain Underpants, Poopy Pants is the best book and my personal favorite.